Hello everyone, Little Sodor Studios. Today for you I have City of Truro as my new custom wooden railway model. For City of Truro, what I ended up using is a James engine engine, and then the tender was actually from a newer Mike model. Something you'll notice right off the bat though is that I removed a wheel from James. This allows me to give that 440 look, kind of very similar to what Edward has. A lot of times I'm going to try to do is replicate other engines, how their wheel configurations are set by the wooden railway line, and then mimic that. So that's what I did here for City of Truro. This custom is probably, it feels like my most detailed, but I don't think it is. I think it just feels a lot cleaner than some of my other models, whether that's just because I took more time or by chance or I tried something a little different. Overall, though, I'm very happy with this model, the way it turned out. It turned out very clean, very smooth. Maybe a side profile here. You'll probably notice, too, the face is from Porter. I ended up buying two. I got a lot of two for, I want to say, like under 10 bucks. So I had a spare Porter to go ahead and use for a custom, and this is what I ended up doing with it. I think City of Truro, out of all the faces that kind of exist in the wooden railway line, Porter works the best. When we're looking at the side view here, you can tell I painted the inner wheels red, inner portion of the wheels red on the front of the locomotive. The tender, I left them black. That was kind of one of those decisions as I looked at various versions of the model, including the one used in the model series. That's a choice I ended up going with, was not painting the tender wheels red. I think that's okay. Another kind of piece of liberty or freedom I took on this model is on the tender. So if you ever look at the real model, there's actually along the bottom, that kind of lining and detail is 3 separate squares instead of one long rectangle divided into 3 rectangles or squares. I went ahead and just, when I was doing it, for whatever reason I felt it would be easier to do one giant rectangle and then subdivide it into 3 smaller rectangles. For me, that's what worked. I ended up liking it. I did try the other way to where it would be admittingly more accurate. It just didn't look good on the tender to me personally. Obviously, if you make your own, that's a choice you've got to make, and if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. We had a little bit of lining towards the top of the tender. Get the outline there. It looks very nice. This green turned out really good as well. This is actually the same green I used on my Bear model. And then another piece of liberty or freedom I took was not making a number plate or putting numbers on this locomotive. The model they used for the TV show had a plate on the side of the cab with the numbering on it. I went back and forth between writing numbers, just doing like a black rectangle to represent the plate, or nothing. I ended up going with nothing because it looked the cleanest. When all said and done, I'd rather go for something that looks a little bit more cleaner than something that's 100% accurate, get all these little details in and overdo it, and it looks messy, it looks cluttered. So that was my reasoning for leaving off the number or a plate that signifies the number. I did go ahead and do the dark red along the bottom of not just the front of the locomotive, but the tender as well. That does wrap around for my buffer beams on both the tender, I'll show you the back side here, the tender, as well as on the front of the engine, which you saw earlier. There we go, we'll bring it back to the front. I ended up going with a CGI version of James because it has the whistle up top, and that was just a little detail I wanted to keep and have. I ended up actually damaging the smoke box, so I went ahead and painted the smoke box and the funnel. Not something I usually do, but since I damaged that, I went ahead and did it, and turned out okay. The last thing on this model that's different, you can't really tell, I think, looking at it here in person, is I went ahead and used Rust-Oleum, a protective clear coat on it. It does a couple things. One, I'm hoping it kind of protects the paint a little bit more. I'm not obviously going to take these and run it into a wall and treat it super rough like I would as a kid when I play with my Thomas Wooden models. But I'm hoping that this will at least reduce the number, because the acrylic paint I used does have a tendency to scratch more than the paint used obviously by the professional factory. What that clear coat also does is it actually kind of fills in the gaps and smooths it over, so you go from kind of a rough finish to a smoother finish, and I really like that about it. It's something I've actually gone ahead, in a lot of my older models I've done in the past, and you've seen on here, I've gone ahead and actually sprayed some of those to give them more, A, again, just to have that protection on it, but B, so it has that smoother feel to it. But that's it. That's all of City of Truro right here. Nothing crazy, not much to talk about. Again, it's a pretty simple, I say simple custom, but it's basically take James, cut off a wheel, paint it dark green, give it some red stripes, and boom, you're done. Obviously some running board and buffer beam details and wheels details as well, but it's not too crazy, and it's a model I'm very happy with. It's definitely, if it's not my favorite custom I've made as far as just looks, it's definitely up there. I want to thank you all for watching, and have a good day.